Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and gives this video a thumbs up. Bachelor in Paradise fans were disappointed by the actions of certain prior fan favorites during season 10. However, the events in the most recent episode sent viewers over the edge. They flocked to social media to express their displeasure with the cast following a good deed gone wrong on the show. Bachelor in Paradise viewers have been aware for weeks that Jeremy Simon was holding a big secret from Bailey Brown. While Bailey was on a date with Andrew Spencer, Jeremy was on the phone, pleading with Susie Evans to return to the show. The other contenders kept Jeremy's secret. However, Brian Otts was troubled as Jeremy repeatedly expressed guilt for picking Bailey over Susie during the surprise rose ceremony. Justin Glaze offered Susie a rose, but she declined and exited the program. Jeremy has continued to pursue Bailey, despite keeping a candle for Susie. The truth was finally revealed in Monday's show when Brian spilled the beans. Surprisingly, Bailey did not dump Jeremy immediately. Several of the male candidates believed Brian violated the bro code by informing Bailey about Jeremy's infidelity. Brian was almost eliminated, but he was saved when the majority of votes went to Faith Martin and Kim instead. Wells Adams, a Bachelor in Paradise resident bartender, got a front-row view to the drama. He's been offering beverages and advice since season 4. He had seen it all, yet he was still surprised when the cast chose Jeremy over Brian. Bachelor in Paradise fans had been waiting weeks for the secret to be revealed and for Jeremy to face his comeuppance. However, as the fact was out, the cast turned on Brian and tolerated Jeremy's antics. The ocean's rhythmic crash against the shore seemed almost mocking that night, as if nature itself knew the island's fragile peace had been shattered. The tiki torches lining the pathway between the palapa and the beach flickered in the humid breeze, casting long shadows over a group of contestants whose loyalties had just been tested in the most public way. It wasn't often that Paradise revealed such a sharp divide in morals and alliances, but Monday night's episode had turned the game on its head. Fans watching from home didn't just see drama, they saw betrayal, hypocrisy, and a strange sort of selective morality that left them feeling more than a little disillusioned. Jeremy Simon sat back in one of the low, woven chairs near the bar, his face set in an expression that was neither guilt nor pride, just an odd, calculating calm. Bailey Brown stood a few paces away, arms folded tightly across her chest, staring into the dark ocean like it might give her the answers she couldn't find in the faces around her. And Brian Otts, still flushed from the confrontation, kept glancing toward Bailey as though silently hoping she'd at least acknowledge that he had tried to do the right thing. The whole thing had unraveled so fast. Only an hour earlier, the mood had been light, almost celebratory. A handful of contestants were dancing barefoot in the sand while Wells Adams whipped up his signature spicy margaritas. But all it took was one moment, Brian pulling Bailey aside under the guise of a casual chat, to upend the carefully maintained facade. "Look, I know this might blow up in my face," Brian had told her, lowering his voice so only she could hear over the crashing waves, "but you deserve to know. Jeremy's not over Susie. He called her, more than once, asking her to come back. I've watched him beat himself up for choosing you over her in that rose ceremony. I think you're amazing, Bailey, but I can't just sit here and pretend like that's not happening." Bailey's expression had been unreadable in the moment, eyes narrowed, jaw tight. She didn't interrupt him. She didn't even ask questions. She simply nodded once, thanked him for telling her, and walked away. What happened next was what set fans off. Rather than confronting Jeremy immediately, Bailey drifted back into the groups gathering around the fire pit. It wasn't until Wells announced last call for drinks that Jeremy himself picked up on the tension. "Everything okay?" he'd asked, trying to play casual. Bailey's shrug was deliberately vague. But the rest of the men noticed the shift too, and they didn't like it. The infamous bro code was suddenly on trial, and Brian was the defendant. "You don't do that, man," Justin Glaze had said later, voice sharp. If Jeremy's got something going on, it's his business to tell Bailey, not yours. Unless he wasn't going to tell her at all, Brian shot back, hands on his hips. Then it becomes everyone's business. The argument split the beach down the middle. Some, like Justin and Andrew Spencer, argued that Brian had broken an unspoken rule, protecting the guys even if it meant letting questionable behavior slide. Others, like Faith Martin and Kim, sided with Brian, insisting that honesty mattered more than protecting someone's image. By the time the vote came down, the unofficial should Brian stay tribunal, the results felt surreal. Faith and Kim were sent packing instead, their bags whisked away in silence while Jeremy lingered at the bar, nursing a drink and avoiding eye contact with anyone who might press him for answers. Wells, who had been behind the bar the whole time, looked genuinely baffled. "I've been here for 6 seasons, he told the camera in a confessional later, and I've seen plenty of guys get away with stuff they probably shouldn't. But the way they turned on Brian tonight? That's new. And not in a good way. It's like, we all watched the same movie, but half the cast decided the villain was actually the hero." The fan reaction was immediate and intense. Twitter threads exploded with outrage, Instagram comment sections filled with paragraphs of disbelief, and Reddit lit up with post titles like "Did we all just watch a moral collapse?" and "Jeremy is the new villain, why is no one calling him out?" The most common sentiment, that the show's magic had been tainted not just by the betrayal itself, but by the bizarre groupthink that followed. In the days after the episode aired, Bailey's social media presence became a Rorschach test for viewers. Every photo, every caption, every story post was scrutinized for clues. Was she staying with Jeremy? Was she just biding her time before a public breakup? Or was she, against all fan expectations, still giving him the benefit of the doubt? Back in paradise, though, things were far from settled. Jeremy seemed determined to control the narrative. The morning after the fallout, he was up early, jogging along the shoreline before most of the others had even rolled out of bed. When Bailey approached him after breakfast, it was clear they had already decided, consciously or not, that their conversation would be private. They walked past the hammocks, past the cabanas, all the way to the far end of the beach where the sound of the waves would drown out most eavesdropping. "I need to know if there's any part of what Brian said that isn't true," Bailey began, arms crossed again, a defense posture she hadn't dropped since last night. Jeremy took a long breath before answering. "I did call Susie," he admitted, "but it wasn't like he made it sound. I wasn't trying to win her back. I just wanted closure." Thanks for watching. If you likes this video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and do not miss any update.